So now, when I went back to talk about the Kansas City's defense versus the Philadelphia Eagles offense, so I went back and looked at every single game for both teams, right? So what I noticed is there got to be some type of adjustment made in the Super Bowl because the Eagles' strength offensively as far as passing the ball is outside the numbers with their wide receivers. We all know about, of course, A.J. Brown and also Devontae Smith. But one thing I noticed about the Chiefs defensively with Spagnuolo is they're very good as far as coverage outside the numbers. But when I saw the films, and one thing that I noticed is the weakness on the Kansas City defense is in the middle, right? So it's like they like to come out in two shells with two safeties. Spags like to play two shells, two safeties over top, right? And what I really saw and the weakness as far as their passing game is their linebackers don't get very good depth as far as in their zone concept. And there's usually a lot of opening, a lot of space in the middle of the field, in between the linebackers and the safety. So I'm really interested to see how the Eagles are going to do this because I anticipate they could have a come out in 11 sets with either Dallas Goedert or one of the receivers, or it could be split receivers. But I really anticipate the Eagles to come out and do more passing inside the numbers because I think that's the weakness for the Kansas City defense. So I'm going to show you all on films to see how the Chiefs, it seems like the safeties are always split outside the hash. So I'm really interested to see how the Eagles going to do this adjustment because I feel like Dallas Goedert could actually kill them inside right here in front of those RPOs and in between the linebackers and the safeties. So I really see success for Dallas Goedert. Also, they could do twins in a sense and have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they do tap on some type of a ride concept like this. So I'm interested to see which defense or which offense is going to adjust. Are the Eagles going to adjust by utilizing the weakness of what I saw on film with the Kansas City's defense as far as their splits, with their safeties, they're always split. I mean, when you look at them as far as two shell, they split. They're all usually outside the hash, and they always leave this. And the Kansas City's linebackers, they're not very good in space. So and they don't get real good depth. So I'm really interested to see how the Philadelphia Eagles offensive system going to adjust because they're very deadly, obviously, outside the numbers. When you watch the Eagles play, you see A.J. Brown going deep. You see Devontae Smith doing a lot of 7 routes, but they don't really attack the post pattern. I think the post and the square in, and I think the RPOs with Dallas Goedert. So I look for those guys to have ample success because when you watch the films, the Kansas City Chiefs are very limited as far as defending the middle of the field. So I'm going to show you all a couple of highlights, exactly a couple of examples what I'm talking about. Kansas City's defense. One thing that I really noticed, and I think the Eagles could definitely take advantage of, is Spags like to play these two safeties right here, these two shells. And every time I see them, I don't think they do a very good job of right here of defending this middle side of the field right here, man. You watch them. I watched every single game, every single defensive snap. I went back and watched every single defensive snap against teams, and I've noticed right here, man, just this little underneath pattern right in between the linebackers and the safeties right there. Boom, you see that zone right here? It seems like it's always open, and so I'm really interested to see how the Eagles are going to attack that. I think that's a very big weakness as far as the Kansas City's defense. I just don't understand with those safeties. Every time they have these two, they're so split so far, and this middle of the side, this middle portion of the field seems to be very vulnerable. And I think the Eagles could take advantage of that with Dallas Goedert. Also, I think they could definitely take advantage of that with either if they put AJ or if they put Devontae in the slot. So I think the slot position is going to be a problem for the Kansas City defense to defend. So I'm really, and I know the Eagles they're more predominantly outside in numbers passing game, but I really think the Eagles going to make some adjustment and take advantage of this defensive structure for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I think it's a big, going back and watching all the game films, and this is the first thing I noticed. I'm like, man, the middle of the field, like, look at this again. The middle of the field seems to be always open against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're a very good team as far as defending outside the numbers, very, very good team. But as far as defending inside the numbers, I think they're very vulnerable, as you could tell by this highlights, how a team could take advantage of this situation. So I think the Eagles, Dallas Goedert, I'm looking forward to see how he's going to do this game, because I think he could definitely take advantage of this space right here. Or even if they want to put A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith in the slot, I think whomever is going to do any type of routes inside the numbers will be very successful. And I'm curious to see how the Kansas City Chiefs are going to adjust to that, because by watching this whole season, I didn't think they have any answer to this type of situation. So I'm curious to see. I think that's something you guys could look out for while you watch this Super Bowl matchup right there.